Okay, shalom everybody. Hope everyone's okay. Enjoying the summer heat. We have a good question that came up recently regarding Tekhelet. To explain a bit about the background, the original way that the mitzvah of tzitzit is performed is that there's a thread of blue, a type of blue derived from a specific type of fish, squid, whatever it's called, okay? In the time of the Beit HaMikdash, the time of the first and second temple, they knew the exact type of fish or squid that would come on the shore towards next to Haifa, in that area. Well, like it says there, once in 70 years, etc., all that, it was known. And after the destruction of the second temple, became more and more less known, the right tradition due to the exile as to what is the proper fish or squid for making from its blood in a specific format, the dye used to make the Tekhelet string. But just again, the original Torah format of the mitzvah tzitzit is with this blue type of string called Tekhelet, okay? Now, if the secret to the Tekhelet is lost and there's no more Tekhelet, the mitzvah of tzitzit continues to exist. Even if a person doesn't have access to Tekhelet, he can still do the mitzvah of tzitzit with white strings, even though it's not perfect, but it's still considered kosher, and the person is doing the mitzvah, at least to a certain degree, with the Tekhelet. Now, there was a Rav, a Hasidic Rebbe, Rav Gershon Henoch Leiner, from the 1800s, the late 1800s, early 1900s. He was the Rebbe of Radzin, the Radziner Rebbe in Poland. The man was a very exceptional giant of Torah. Besides being a Rebbe, he was also a Gaon in the Torah. And it was one of his life's quests to rediscover the proper fish and squid to be able to determine that this is the right fish, okay? So he did a research, taking all the information from all the poskim, all the Rishonim, Tosfot, Rambam, Rosh, Rif, Ran, you name it, how they explain this fish the squid is supposed to look like. And he went, in his time, what was the biggest Mediterranean sea fish aquarium in the world, in Italy at the time, and he had sketches of what more or less this fish is supposed to look like, and it's all characteristics. And he found a match. He found a match to this design based on Tosfot, Rambam, you name it, even all the different opinions, but it comes together in one picture. He found a fish squid that matches that perspective. He got very excited, okay? He wrote three books, proving that this was the right squid fish, and with such azut dikdusha, with brazenness of holiness, he began to manufacture. He had a chemist help him out to begin to manufacture how to take out the blood and to produce the dye, which would be used to dye the strings. Okay, we're talking about approximately the year Tarmach Tarma, Tafresh Memhe, Tafresh Memchet, I forget the exact year. I think it's 1875, 1885. I don't know the exact year translation of Tarma. I don't remember. I think it's 1885, 1895. He faced tremendous opposition from the leading halachic rabbis of the time, especially one who was called the Aruch HaShulchan. They wrote extremely against him. Who are you to all of a sudden create something new, to bring it up, to bring up the Tekhelet again? What is this? Who are you? What validity do you have after Chuban Beit HaMikdash for almost 2,000 years? And there's no more Sanhedrin and big rabbis at that caliber. Who are you to come along? This, and also they try to bring proofs from the Midrash and the Gemara and the Zohar that until Mashiach comes, this secret of the Tekhelet will be a secret, remain a secret. It will be revealed when Mashiach actually comes. And he wrote everything they said, they argued against him, he wrote back. And one opinion that he brought was, we're now in the birth pangs of Mashiach, which is right before Mashiach. So it is fitting that now the Tekhelet can be rediscovered. So this polemic of is this the real, true Tekhelet or not, also entered into the Breslov world. It's not, the whole Jewish world was involved in this polemic if it's valid or not. And by the Breslovers also became an issue. Do we accept it? Do we not? So in Breslov, there were two main camps. First one of a Breslover elder, more older, his name was Rav Nachman Goldstein of Cheren, the Cherener Rav, who was alive at the time, that year 1885, 1890, I think 1885, Tarma, we'll calculate it. I don't have a calculator in front of me to tell you which English year it was. It was 1875 or 1885 or 1895. Weiß nicht. We can do the combination already. If 1845 was Tara, so 40 years later, so 45, 50, 60, 70, 80, there you go. 1885, the Cherener Rav was still alive. He was one of the big Breslovers elders, and he was a big, massive Torah scholar in his own right. He was a giant in all areas of the Torah. He was a posek, halachic Rav, you name it. He was a dayan, everything, Av Beidin. He was everything, the Rav Nachman Goldstein of Cheren. When he heard about it, he said, there's no source, not in the Chumash, not in the Tanakh, not in the scriptures, not in the Gemara, that the Tekhelet is going to be rediscovered. And he spoke against it. He said there's no validity to this Tekhelet. So in his footsteps, all of the students of his students till today, they're in that camp till today that there's no Tekhelet. Forget it. And they bring this, there's a source brought from the wording of Rav Nosson in his prayer number 49, where he touches upon the mitzvah of Tekhelet, because that's a theme of Likutei Moharan lesson 49. Rabbi Nachman goes into the concept of the Tekhelet, and in the prayer based on that lesson, Rav Nosson, he says, "Wish bezoche to have the Beit Hamikdash, and then the Tekhelet will be revealed." So they said, you see from the wording of Rav Nosson that he himself is hinting that the Tekhelet will not be revealed until Mashiach comes. This is the first camp. Until today, Breslovers, many of them who follow this tradition, will not wear the Tekhelet strings. There is a second camp, however, that of a fourth generation Breslover. Rav Nachman of Cheren, of Goldstein of Cheren, was the third generation Breslover. He was a disciple of Rav Nosson, disciple of Rabbi Nachman. So 3 generations. The next generation, the fourth generation leader, his name was Rabbi Avraham ben Rav Nachman Halevi Chazan of Tulchin, the author of a very, very deep commentary on Likutei Moharan called Bir Likutim, and author of many other books also. And the man was very deep and very secretive and mysterious, but without a doubt, and it's understood by everybody, he received a very, very specific tradition. And only him and another person knew of this tradition. You've probably heard of that many times in the past classes. We'll go over it again. There was a secret transmission from Rabbi Nachman called Megillat Setarim, the scroll of secrets. He revealed it to specifically and only 2 disciples. Rabbi Nachman revealed it to Rav Nosson and Rav Naftali. And in it, Rabbi Nachman told them all the secrets of the world until Mashiach comes. What's going to happen? What is it? It was like a prophecy, a ruach nevuah, of what's going to take place until Mashiach comes. And Rabbi Nachman warned the 2 that only 2 people per generation are allowed to know it. That means whoever of you 2 passes away first, which was the case by Rav Nosson. Rav Nosson passed away in 1844. Rav Naftali passed away at least 20, 25 years later. Whoever passes away first, the second person alive can reveal it to somebody else. That is what happened. Rav Nosson passed away in 1844. Rav Naftali revealed the Megillat Setarim based on what the Rabbi Nachman told him to do to another Breslover who was trustworthy to keep a secret. His name was Rav Aharon Lipovetsker. And then when Rav Naftali passed away in the late 1800s, Rav Aharon Lipovetsker revealed the secrets of this Megillat Setarim to this Rabbi Avraham ben Rav Nachman Halevi Chazan of Tulche. Okay? This Rav Avram Rav Nachman Halevi Chazan was so secretive that when Rav Aaron Lipovetsky passed away, nobody knew, A, if he revealed it to somebody else, and B, if who he revealed it to. So who it was revealed to, they didn't know. And if he even revealed it to anybody. Okay, people gave up all types of theories. No one knows till today who he revealed it to. He passed away in the midst of World War I in 1917. Nobody knew who he revealed it to. In fact, when he passed away, the daughter of Rav Aharon Lipovetsky, who obviously knew, that Avram Rav Nachman had received from her father this secret transmission, she asked, does anybody know who he revealed it to? Because there was a problem. This Avram Rav Nachman, almost a year before he passed away, that means from 1816 to 1817, he became sick and he lost his ability to speak for 1 year before he passed away. Okay, almost a year. He passed away in the middle of Hanukkah, on the 5th candle of Hanukkah, and nobody knows if he even revealed it to anybody. Nonetheless, him and other Breslovers, Rav Nosson, for example, to remember the pattern and the details of this secret of the transmission of what's going to take place before Mashiach comes, they wrote for themselves in like a format of Morse code, in like Rashi Tevot, in like code words, code format, points that they should remember, because they weren't allowed to write it, because you can't write it because it'll be revealed. So they kept a secret like format of this booklet. They made a kuntres out of the Megillat Setarim for themselves. Avram Rav Nachman made it for himself, so you shouldn't forget the transmission. But you still, when you look at it, you can't understand exactly what it says there. People make all types of theories. Some professor, some doctor made a whole book analyzing it. He was able to decipher what it's talking about and everything. But there's a joke they say in Breslov. He who says he knows doesn't know. And he who knows, he doesn't say, he doesn't talk, doesn't say anything. So Avram Rav Nachman received this transmission. So now going back to the Radziner Rebbe, 1885, Rav Avram Rav Nachman was in Poland at the time that this polemic was taking place. And he also developed a type of a closeness to the Radziner Rebbe, because there were two Torah giants, and the Radziner Rebbe had a big respect for this Rav Avraham ben Rav Nachman, this Breslover. A big respect. He even prepared for him like a silk bekeshe like the Rebbe's wear. He refused to take it. Nothing, he ran away. And he had a big respect for him. So he was very open with him. He was able to confide with him. And he told, when this polemic started, and it started getting very, very bad, it started bypassing just halachic opinions, where people, like, as always, unfortunately, fist fights and machlokot, etc., strife in the Jewish people. So the Radziner Rebbe told Avram Rav Nachman, and this is how the story goes. This is what was handed down by the students of Avraham ben Rav Nachman, who heard the story from him, that the Radziner Rebbe said they're shooting arrows at me with the rabbis, their disagreement to the Tekhelet. And I wrote 3 books proving that this is the authentic Tekhelet. So Avraham ben Rav Nachman said to the Radziner Rebbe, I have a stronger proof that your Tekhelet is the real Tekhelet. Because, and this is like a one unique time that he opened his mouth to reveal a secret revealed in this transmission of the Megillat Setarim. And he said that Rabbi Nachman revealed that in the year Tarma, or Tarmach, again, please don't take my word on it if it's 1885 or 1888. You can look in history books. You want to see it in English, you can take a look in the NCSY OU booklet entitled A Thread of Light, Tzitzit, A Thread of Light by Rav Ari Kaplan. You can take a look at the last chapter in that book. Rav Ari Kaplan brings the whole story of the Radziner Rebbe and his revelation of the Tekhelet and his opposition, how the Breslovers did hold by it, etc. You can see there, and the dates and everything are in the last chapter of that little booklet called Tzitzit, A Thread of Light by NCSY OU Publications, Rav Ari Kaplan. Okay, so Rabbi Nachman said to the Radziner Rebbe, I have a stronger proof that this is the real Tekhelet because Rabbi Nachman revealed that in this year, 1885 or 1888, the Tekhelet will be re-revealed. Okay? This is the story that goes in Breslov tradition from the disciples of Rabbi Nachman, which means that they, including Avram Rabbi Nachman, began wearing the Radziner Rebbe's Tekhelet. Okay? So far at this point, by 1885, let's say, you have two camps in the Breslov movement, because again, it was a topic everybody was talking about. You couldn't avoid it. If you were a frum Jew back in 1885, it was a topic that was going crazy all over. Even by the Sephardic countries, it reached this polemic of the Tekhelet and everything. They heard word that it became revealed by a Rav in Poland, etc. Okay, the word got out. So now in the Breslov camps, you had the two groups. You had Rav Nachman Goldstein, who was a big gaon, and he said there's no source that it'll be revealed. However, Avram Rav Nachman, with his tradition, that it will be revealed. Okay, so that's the first two groups of people in the Breslov movement who wore Tekhelet and who didn't wear Tekhelet, and both had big shoulders, people with broad shoulders to rely upon. Now, going fast forward 20, 30, 40 years later, in the late mid 1930s, by that time, the Radziner Rebbe, Gershon Henech Leiner, had passed away already, and his son became the next Rebbe. And his son, as great as he was, but he wasn't at the level of his father, began to also continue the manufacturing of the Tekhelet dye, taken from the squid that they shipped from Italy, from the aquarium, to Poland, and to make it there with the supervision of a chemist and everything. Rumor got out in the mid-1930s that he's not doing it the same way as his father was doing it. So immediately, many Breslover Hasidim, disciples of the disciples of Avram Rav Nachman, stopped to wear the Tekhelet, because if now it lost its samchiyut, it lost its validity, why should we wear? Why should we stick our necks out or we wear Tekhelet and then get involved in the polemic if now it's not the real thing? So many students of Rav Nachman, including, we'll give some names, Rav Levi Yitzhak Bender, for example, stopped wearing the Tekhelet. They did not wear it anymore because of the rumors. There are others who didn't hear the rumor, didn't believe the rumor, and they continued to wear Tekhelet strings, including, as an example, you have Rav Adil Chaim Rosen, who wore Tekhelet in Eretz Yisrael. Okay, these two people were disciples of Avram Rav Nachman. So you have here now three groups. Two groups who don't wear the Tekhelet, one because they hold that it's not the valid one. In other words, from the beginning or from its onset, students of Rav Nachman Goldstein of Cheren. Those who believed, yes, on the onset, the original discoverer of the Tekhelet strings, the Radziner Rebbe, it was valid, but the follow-up of his son and the Hasidim and all things, and not having the broad shoulders of the Radziner first Rebbe, they lost the touch how to do it properly. They stopped wearing it. So and then you have the group who continue wearing the Tekhelet even till today. Okay, from the son and the grandson and whoever the Radziner Hasidim exists today in Bnei Brak, and they continue to manufacture it based on the original recipe, which was revealed by the original Radziner Rebbe. Okay, so these are three groups, and after all this, there's recorded a story of a later generation Breslover Chassid who was in the same time of Avram Rav Nachman, but later on. His name was of Yisrael Karduner. Yisrael Halperin Halevi Karduner. He's buried in Tveria. He revealed that he had a dream with Rabbi Nachman. And Rabbi Nachman, in his book Chayei Moharan, Tzaddik, he talks about the big merit of seeing him in a dream. Rabbi Nachman says it's a big thing when people see me in a dream. Some people see me as a young man, some people see me as an old man, but he spoke highly about it. And this Rabbi Yisrael Karduner, for the sake of the message that comes out of it, he revealed, again, these people don't talk and boast about what they have and everything. It came out because it was needed to come out. And Rabbi Yisrael Karduner said that he had a dream with Rabbi Nachman. And in his dream, he asked Rabbi Nachman, do I have to wear the Tekhelet tzitzit? And he said to him in the dream, Lav Dafka, you don't have to wear it. It doesn't ma'akev, it doesn't stop you. You know, you're more Breslover or you're more authentic if you're wearing it or not. says, Lav Dafka. You're not going to be given a din v'cheshbon, an accounting because you didn't wear it. And you're not going to be given a din v'cheshbon because you did wear it, okay? So you're okay. Whichever camp you take, you're okay. So we have now another group of people who do or do not, and without force that you have to do like this or you don't have to do like this. With all this, you see the variety of the Tekhelet in Breslov. You can't say now, he wears Tekhelet, so he must be a Breslover. It could be that many people, a lot of people in Breslov do wear the Tekhelet. And even those who wear Tekhelet, there's a whole story with Rabbi Herzog, the chief rabbi of Eretz Yisrael, that he received a copy of the format of the how the Tekhelet is made from the chemist who was working with the Radziner Rebbe. And he showed it to another chemist and he says it can't be. This is a chemical reaction that causes the dye. And they came up based on that issue, proving that this can't be Tekhelet because it's a chemical reaction that causes the blue. So they said they found another squid, that this is the valid, true squid that you can use for the Tekhelet. So it's another opinion that exists today, okay? But we're not going to go into that because it's outside of the parameters of what's been passed down in the past 4 generations of the Breslover Hasidim. Bottom line, you don't have to wear Tekhelet. If you do, it's a personal opinion, but don't go around saying, the Breslovers, they wear Tekhelet. Don't say that, because you have many great people in Breslov who don't wear Tekhelet and their tzitzit, and you have those who do. It's nice, for example, about Tshuva, who gets into Breslov, and he has an identity crisis. He wants to have an identity. So he gets a nice white kippah like mine, whatever. He writes in whatever on he wants to write it, and he has the pants sticking out and the big beard and the tzitzis of the Tekhelet, and that's given the stereotype picture by everyone that that's a Breslover. Lav Dafka, that's not necessarily the case. Breslov today is so big, it's so humongous, that you don't know who's who anymore. And you can dress any way you want, Litvish, Hasidic, Teimani, Sephardi, and still be a full force follower of Rabbi Nachman's teachings, not partial, full force, meaning there's no proof by external garb and presentation that he's a Breslover. There are stereotypes, but that doesn't say anything. That doesn't say the story. Because you have many people who we don't reach their feet and they're dressed like simple Litvish guys or whatever, white shirts, trimmed beard, some people without beards and muscles. You don't know who's who today. So the point is, again, not to use a stereotype as a proof to what to do in the Breslov movement. And especially when it comes to Tekhelet, not to feel a necessity to wear it or not to wear it. You can wear it, and you have a credit if you do. You have who you can rely upon, no problem. No one will run after you. You wear Tekhelet, so that means you're a treif, you're not kosher. And the opposite also, if you don't wear the Tekhelet, no one's going to say, you're not a real Breslov because you wear Tekhelet. That's not a factor here. So all this had to be put. I think it was finally time to give a class because of questions that came up. That's a Q&A, right? This question came up recently by somebody about the Tekhelet in Breslov, and I think we laid it out pretty clearly in this class. And Baruch Hashem, it's recorded. So now anytime someone else brings up the question, I don't have to give another class. We have it recorded over here. Okay, Bezat Hashem, all the best. Thank you for joining. And until next time. Shalom, shalom, everybody.